Talk about a nostalgia chub. What a callback to a different era in music right here. Let's see if this record was really worth it, or if it's just a tease. Hi people, and now my Chili Con Carne crew. It's Chili here, the man who produces Iron from My Eyes, so with a 5-minute review on Empire of the Sun. Ask that God. So this is such a nostalgia trip right here. You know, it's been nearly 2 decades since our airways were graced by this duo's debut single, and the album Walking on a Dream, which as we speak teeters close to the edge of 1 billion streams. Now that's a song that just reminds me of being a fresh-faced idiot going to nightclubs and paying too much at the door for some overpriced drinks. I was always happier just going to smaller bars and smashing pints that didn't cost me 2 hours of my wage. Sidetracking stories aside, an Empire of the Sun has always been one of these noughties electro dance bands that I remembered fondly with their debut album. And that is probably because they are an Australian act from Sydney as well. And this is solidified by the 2 lead singles off that record that propped up the whole album. But that's a discussion for another time. Since 2008, the band have only released 4 albums, including this latest one. And the delayed gaps between albums, along with their allure and namesake, certainly carries with it some weight. But to be honest, I grew out of their music after 2009 was done and dusted, and I haven't really been back to that album since. That was a different time in my life, and this is now. So I can hear you through the phone asking me, why are you reviewing this album? Well, I have to give you something to watch while you are using the bathroom at work, don't I? So, good enough, let's go on with this review. On here we find the band playing the music that we have known them for. Happy-go-lucky, sugary-coated electro-pop rock. It's not offensive, it's not bad, in fact it's kind of catchy at times, but it doesn't really meet that nostalgia chub that I mentioned before, which is a bit of a letdown. And what I mean by this is that the music sounds too similar to their debut effort without reaching the climaxes of their debut effort. I get that as songwriters it's a hard path to come across when you are coming up with such a challenge, but it feels hardly like a challenge at all on this record. I would say that the music that is found here is a collection of tunes that are not too dissimilar to their older works. It's simple and enjoyable, but perhaps it has the distinction of not having a powerful single to lead the charge, and this might be the biggest pitfall of the record, being a decent effort that could be forgotten in the long run. If there's one thing that is truly memorable about this record, it's the timeless feel about the music. It's like the band haven't missed a beat with their original style and time that has not touched the duo, which ironically is the same thing that can be said about these guys who look like models more than musicians. I mean, if anything, it only adds salt to the wounds to remind me of the fact that sands of time are against us, and these idols, they just haven't aged at all. But perhaps that's also because I love pizza more than they do, and that might be the main contributing factor. On the other hand, it's a record that has stayed in their path and not showed signs of evolution either, so this should appease the old guard. But are the OG fan base going to be the ones that attend their gigs in nightclubs or places which serve a single plum floating in perfume in a bowler's hat? I literally have no idea as to the venues these guys do their gigs at, and I don't really care these days anyway. I'm not going to see them in a live setting, and this is not because the music is bad, but because it's not what I would pay $150 to watch. If I wanted to see people perform electro-pop rock in a weird costumes, I'd go see Peter Gabriel. I mean, he did set that standard for this style of music, and he set a high benchmark for anyone who wants to follow. Rhapsodize was certainly a song that stood out to me, and this is perhaps due to the small similarities it shares with the track Aqueous Transmission by Incubus, in that it's towards the end of the album in a longer track, and it's a pretty chilled tune that really stood out to me. I love it. I love this song, I really do. But as for the rest of this record, nothing exactly stood out to me, and that is because it all blends in and just stays very dissimilar to what they have put out in the past. Overall, I would give this album a score of 4.5 million chilies on the spicy scale, with my favourite tracks being Cherry Blossom, Ask That God, and Rhapsodize. In my opinion, this music feels like it's gone through the recycling for a regurgitated effort via Mark II self-debut effort for the masses, except the band forgot what made them so great in the first place, and that was that their music rode the crest of what that wave was back in the day, only to see that the tides have shifted since then. I still think the group has meaning in this current music scene. However, I do believe they require a little bit of evolution, which was surely lacking on this latest effort. An effort which was years in the making, and so cookie cutter generic with the song and writing that it was at times hard to distinguish from this record to their debut. Is the next effort going to be better than their previous one when it's released in another 4 or 5 years' time? We don't know, but only time will tell, I guess. If you've enjoyed this content, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to us, and stay notified for future music related content because it keeps our manager happy at the end of the day. We are also on Discord, Instagram, Facebook, and all those other social platforms if you want to check us out. As always, people, you have a great day and stay spicy.